Hey Vicky, so I went and had, I'm in the library, sorry, tea with Lily for the extra credit vlog, and I told her it could be kind of just like anything of her choice if she wanted to, or we didn't have to, and she kind of invited me into her space to do some like tea, ginger tea, which was interesting. I've never had ginger tea. I found myself being a little bit worried about being in somebody else's space. She lives with 3 other girls in a quad in East, so I was very conscious of like where to sit, how to be, you know what I mean, like where I was in relation to everything else. So I found myself a little bit hyper aware, and I actually met her main roommate too, who is from Germany, which was cool for this project because it's like a whole nother culture. And I also found it interesting that they chose to room together. They get along great, and it was so interesting to me to see how they like seamlessly interact, because sometimes I don't even interact that well with like people that I know, and so that was interesting. As for Lily, she was of course just like really comfortable because she was in her own space, and she definitely has a solid hostess attitude, and I really noticed that as well because some people just like really have that quality, and she's just one of those people. We had really good conversations like we always did. We kind of talked a little bit about the project because she knows what it is and what it's about and everything, and but I did notice that her presence like in her space was a lot different than it had been when we were like out and about or near my space or things like that. She seemed very like calm comparatively, because she's like, when we first met at Starbucks, she was like really revved up about some of the issues we talked about, and I absolutely loved it, and like how we would chat back and forth, but you could just tell that she was like kind of more in her element almost, if that makes sense. She talked a lot quieter, which was interesting to me. I always noticed the level of people's voices. I don't know why that is. And so I think like if I could connect something from this entire process to class, it would probably be just that like I was trying to take away as much as I could from like the entire thing, like in the whole span of the ethnocentric to ethno-relative stuff. So I was like really trying to be like get to the ethno-relative part of it, and I definitely realized that you can't just like jump from one stage to the next. It's more of like a fluid process, and it more takes like daily and weekly interactions with like people that are different from you to change how your mindset is. And so I also noticed that I had to do a lot of thinking about how I was thinking, like that whole metacognition thing, to kind of realize and move myself through the stages. So I definitely think that it's like a fluid process. It's not necessarily like pretty squares of like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and next I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna be ethno-relative and have like this great culture that I'm mixing with my own and doing things this way. And so I think that was like a big takeaway from that particular model. And what I did, I really liked to focus on that model because it gave like direct things about culture, and we only had really one presentation about culture. And so I think the other takeaway I can take away from like the big picture is that I have noticed that the more cultured people are, the more comfortable they normally are with other people of like, and that's like other people, anyone type of people, because like even in watching Lily interact with her roommate and like people in yoga and outside of where we were like doing things in Starbucks even, she was just comfortable. And maybe that's not like all people. I know like some people are shy or whatever, but I have noticed like that small trend, and even in myself, like while trying to become more ethno-relative and like having those interactions with people that are different from me, I have noticed like my comfort level change a little bit there, and it hasn't been drastic or anything. Like you said, it's not going to be drastic probably because it's a small project, but like I have noticed that it affects my comfort level around people, no matter who they are or where they're from or anything like that. So I'm hoping to take the project and apply it to my everyday life and use some metacognition to become more ethno-relative, but it's a process, so thank you.